Greetings, Legionists. Arndelft here. So first off, let me introduce the first video in what I am hoping is going to be a long line, entitled simply as How I Would Have Done It. In this series, I'll be essentially redoing storylines and/or specific scenes in movies, books, or videos that I enjoy, and telling it in a way I'd have done it. I've honestly wanted to get this started for a really long time, and I'm excited by the prospects. This being the first in the series I truly hope you enjoy. Now, if you haven't read the second book in the Horus heresy titled False Gods, I'd recommend you stop now, as this will contain spoilers. As well, if you don't know the background contents of this scene, you may not understand much of what I've put into it. So, once again, if you haven't read False Gods, I'd recommend you read it before watching this video. This particular video will be taking place in the moment leading right up to Horus' decision to join the forces of Chaos. Horus stood upon the soil of Chthoniya, or at least upon the likeness of it, but such was the reality of it, he would not have been able to tell it was not Chthoniya had he not known it already. But regardless, its dark ashen skies filled with all manner of pollution, the sooty winds, the dark earth, it all reminded him of his home. It helped to center him after the spinning tale the Sejanus thing had woven before him. Oh, the pain of that. To have Sejanus, dear Hastur Sejanus, and for a bright, if brief moment, think that he had had him back, if only in spirit, and then to realize the lie of it. That had hurt. Regardless, what it had shown him had been thought-provoking, to say the least, but much of it too outrageous to be outrightly believed, and Horus had almost been ready to dismiss the creature and its lies when it had shown him something else. Something he could not outright dismiss. The laboratory. Those eyes. Those deep, milky eyes. He'd seen the truth in them. He'd seen himself. What was more was when he had stared into the eyes of his father, he had known without a shadow of a doubt that it had been his father, the Emperor of mankind, beloved by all. It had been no illusion. Within all sons of the Emperor was the light of his touch. Within them, the ability to see and sense each other, and him without doubt. And in that moment, when he'd met his eyes, he had known it was his father. What had transpired after had left Horus in doubt, in grief. He let us be cast into the stars, Horus whispered. He could have stopped it. He could have prevented it. We could have been raised directly under his hand and tutelage, yet he allowed us to be cast away from him. Horus shook his head. Father, if you did allow this to happen, what else have you done? Brother! Horus turned at the sound of the voice he had heard before, but for the first time understood what it was saying. Who are you? He asked. Brother, it is I, Magnus. Stepping from shadow and shimmering air, stood forth clad in his plate armor of copperish gold and a cloak of golden feathers, was Magnus the Red, his single golden cyclopean eye staring upon Horus. Horus knew with certainty, without doubt, that this was indeed his brother, with but a glance, even in this imitation of Chthoniya. Brother, Horus whispered, how is it you come to be here? Are you too upon the edge of death? No, Horus, Magnus said, stepping forward to him. I have come here, through much sacrifice, to bring you a warning, and I'd have come sooner if not for how tightly bound they have you in their web. Horus, what you have seen is an elaborate set of lies woven to confuse you and tear you from the side of the Emperor, our father. Horus watched Magnus, staring upon his glorious form for a moment before whispering, I wish I could believe you, Magnus, but you have not seen what I have seen. It is lies, Magnus said with certainty, swinging his hand out before him as if to dispel it all with but a wave. All of it! You must not believe it! Magnus, he said in a stronger, clearer tone, I gazed upon him. I gazed upon our father, and as sure as I know you to be you, I knew it to be him. Magnus' single eye opened in wide surprise. What did you see? Our creation, Magnus. How he made us, Horus said, peering upon the dark earth of Chthoniya. Horus! Horus made a chopping motion in front of him to silence his brother. You did not see what I saw, Magnus. You didn't see. It wasn't just how he made us. It was the fact he could have prevented our being thrust into the cosmos. He could have stopped it. Instead, he allowed it to happen. Why? He must have had a reason, Magnus said. You must understand, Horus. Even if what you saw had truth in it, they will have colored it to tarnish your view of it. Our father needs us. Yes, but for how long? They both turned at the sound of another voice. The Sejanus thing stepped forth from shimmering air, its face filled with contemptuous hatred that Sejanus himself had never had upon his noble features. He needs you. Yes, that is why he made you, but he does not want you. The Emperor, beloved by all, doesn't even truly consider you his sons. He uses you like pawns upon a regicide board. When he is done with you, he shall cast you upon the winds. Magnus' face was filled with a quiet rage as he stepped next to Horus now, his tone filled with wrath. You are naught but a liar, and worse yet, a coward for it. You wear not your own face, but one beloved by all who knew him, but most of all by Horus. And you think you have deceived him? Let your true face be revealed. Magnus thrust forth his hand into the air towards the Sejanus thing, and his fingers closed on the thin air before he pulled them away. Horus watched as a light flared around the figure of Sejanus, and the colors of the Loon Wolf disappeared, replaced in the stead thereof by the livery of the word-bearers, and amidst a gasp of surprise and pain, the face of Hastur was replaced by Erebus, the first chaplain. Erebus? Horus whispered. I imagined some dark thing crawled from the shadows pretending to be my most trusted friend. I did not expect you. One of the most trusted advisors of my dear brother Lorgar, whom I had even learned to call friend, to stand here before me. Yes, Horus, Erebus said, clutching at his throat. I am indeed Erebus, and I have been sent to you, here by Lorgar himself, to show you these things. I took the form of dear Sejanus to ease the truth of them unto you, not to deceive you. You lie, Magnus said, enraged, his face livid. Horus knew that Magnus and Lorgar shared a particular bond of close friendship, maybe even close enough to rival that of he and Sanguinius. Lorgar is not a fool. He would never enslave himself to the power of the warp. Enslave? Erebus said with a raised eyebrow. No, he is no slave. He is in fact elevated, ascendant, a true power. Not a pawn to be discarded at will like you, Magnus. Lorgar has seen the truth you hid from him. No, you lie, Magnus said, but Horus could hear a note of doubt in his voice, see it upon his face. There had been truth in Erebus's words, beyond speaking of Lorgar's due ties with these powers of the warp. Horus, War Master of all, heed me now, Erebus said, stepping toward him. Lorgar is powerful, he is ascendant, but what power he has is nigh on nothing to what they offer you. They will save you from this fate no matter the choice you make, as I said before, but you've seen the truth with your own eyes. You know the Emperor has done more than withhold things from you. He has lied to you, and deep inside your heart, you know there will be a day when he no longer has a need for you, and upon that day he will discard you, even you, the Ascendant above all Primarchs, to the abyss. Liar! Magnus' rage could no longer be tempered, and he stepped forward, reaching his hands outward, and from them cast bolts of ethereal lightning and blue fire with hearts of white fury. Erebus's eyes went wide for a moment before the blast struck him, and he was enveloped. But a moment later they heard his laughter, and as the flame and lightning died out, he stood completely unharmed. "You are too spent, Magnus," Erebus said with a smile on his face, "and you are too far. You cannot silence the voice of truth so easily." "Horus," Magnus said, a note of desperation in his voice, "you must not listen to him. He has colored even the truth to be like unto lies. You must heed me in this." "Must I?" Horus whispered, causing silence to reign as Magnus's single eye opened wide. "Magnus, my dear brother Magnus," Horus shook his head. "Had you simply come here not already bearing the fruit of labor in discord with the will of our Father?" "What do you mean?" Magnus said, concern upon his face. "I have heard much from Erebus, seen much of what these powers in the warp have shown me. I've seen a possible future that may or may not come to pass, but I have also seen the past and seen the truth in it. What is more, I have seen you, Magnus. I have seen you are indeed no stranger to the power of the warp. To such depth I did not suspect. You have defied the edict of Nicaea, haven't you?" "Aye." Magnus's words caught in his throat, his single eye showing his torment. "My brother, I have only done what was needed. The Emperor, our father himself, decreed it, Magnus," Horus said just above a whisper. "Yet you come as his proxy to decry the things I have seen. Yet you defy his will with your very coming, and more so I fear you never stopped. At any point, Magnus, did you heed the ruling of Nicaea? At any point at all?" Magnus stood silent, stood still, staring upon his brother's face, before, ever so slowly, shaking his head. "No, Horus, I did not. But no, Magnus." Horus raised his right hand for silence. "You've made your case. There is nothing more you can say that has not already been said." Horus turned to look upon the ash-choked skies of Chthoniya. "Too long have I taken the word of my father as law. Too long I have trusted blindly. Mine eyes have remained closed in regards to him, but no longer." "Brother, I implore you," Magnus pleaded. "The galaxy will be washed in blood if you tread this path." "The galaxy," Horus turned to regard Magnus, "is already awash with blood, all shed in the name of his dream. A dream that will require endless sacrifice, endless war just to maintain. Already I've seen the cracks in it. Already the lackeys he has placed to stand even above me have started to unravel it. And more I realize that even if we could somehow attain that dream, I see now he has no intention at all of sharing it with us. We would be left behind." He looked back at the first apostle. "Let me be clear, Erebus. I do not trust you. But I do trust my brother Lorgar, and I will see what he and these powers of the warp have to show me. So shall it be done." Alright, everybody, I really hope that you enjoyed that. I honestly have been working a while on it and doing quite a bit of research trying to figure out, what the best feel and atmosphere would be just right for this scene and the particular nuances of the characters and other whatnot. So if you have any feedback at all, please leave it down in the comment section below. I mean, do you think that I did an absolutely great job and that this was, definitely redefined this scene in a much better way? Or do you think I should definitely just left well enough alone? Or do you think that if I tweak this back and forth a little bit that it would, just be just right? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any ideas upon improving this or anything else or possible other projects I could embark upon, also drop those. I'd love to hear them. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please let me know why. And if you are new to the channel and genuinely enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. In any case, don't get into too much trouble or do. It's always up to you. Toodles!